Let me say this again so it sinks in. You don't need to compete. You don't need to run. You don't need to be louder, faster, more impressive than the next guy. That's not how you stand out. It's how you blend in. The moment you start chasing, you become replaceable. You become part of the noise. Look at the guys. She overlooks guys with money, cars, perfect gym bodies, romantic texts. They're everywhere. They all want to be picked. That's the problem. They're performing. They're waiting to be chosen. The man she can't stop thinking about. He doesn't try. Doesn't bend. He doesn't sell himself. Just exists in his frame, solid and calm, like he's got nothing to prove because he doesn't. When you stop chasing and just be, everything shifts. You stop being an option. You become the question mark. You become the why isn't he interested. You become the mystery. That's the man who lingers in her mind. The one who didn't run, didn't audition, didn't hand over his self-worth for attention. Because once you start performing, you silently admit she's above you, that her approval matters more than your peace, your pace, your power. And the moment you do that, you lose your center. The truth is, she doesn't want another man chasing her. She wants to feel something real. You don't create that by flooding her with compliments and availability. You create that by being unbothered, by knowing your values so deeply that you don't need to prove it. You create it by stepping out of the race and making her wonder why you're not running.
Because
that's where the game flips, not by doing more, but by doing less with more intention. That's what makes her look twice. Asterisk, a man with a full life is magnetic. Not because he's flashy or constantly on the move, but because his energy tells a story without him needing to speak. It says, I'm not waiting for anyone to make me feel whole. That kind of presence is rare, and women can feel it instantly. You don't have to tell her you've got things going on. She'll pick it up in the way you carry yourself, in the calmness you bring to the room, in the way your time feels valuable. When you're truly rooted in your purpose, whether it's your career, your craft, your fitness, your growth, you stop being reactive. You're no longer sitting by your phone, hoping she texts back. You're not rearranging your schedule for every flicker of attention. You've got things to build. And she feels that, on the flip side, if you make her your world before she's even earned a place in it, you're sending the wrong message. You're not showing love or devotion. You're showing emptiness. You're signaling that you don't have anything more important going on than her, and that energy is heavy. It's not romantic. It's suffocating. Women don't fall for men who orbit around them. They fall for men who pull them into a bigger orbit. So fill your life first, with passions, with challenges, with brotherhood, with solitude that sharpens you. Be the man who's so dialed into his path that love becomes a bonus, not a mission. When you have your own thing going, she won't just be interested. Be drawn, she'll feel like she's stepping into a current, not creating one. And that's where the real connection begins, not when she feels needed, but when she feels lucky to be chosen by a man who already has everything in motion. Asterisk, emotional control is one of the sharpest tools in a man's arsenal. And yet it's where most guys break. She tests you not because she's cruel, but because on a deep level, she wants to know what kind of man she's dealing with. Is he easily shaken? Will he fold under pressure? Can he handle emotion without drowning in it? These tests can be subtle. She pulls back, delays a reply, throws out a sarcastic comment, acts distant. And most guys, they take the bait. They start over-explaining. They chase. They spiral. They become emotional over her emotionality. That's where they lose her respect. But a grounded man sees the test for what it is, not an attack, but a mirror, a reflection of his own discipline. When she shifts energy, he doesn't flinch. When she's cold, he stays warm, but not desperate. When she's distant, he doesn't chase, he observes. He holds frame. That calm, steady energy is something she doesn't forget because it's rare. Most men are reactors. He's a responder. Most men talk too much when they're nervous. It's quieter. That stillness isn't emptiness, it's strength. When you stop trying to fix every emotional ripple and simply hold space, you show her that your peace isn't up for negotiation. And that's when everything shifts. That's when she starts leaning in, wondering why you're not scrambling to earn her back. That silence, that pause, that deep breath you take instead of reacting, It says, I don't fear distance. I don't fear silence. I only move where I'm valued. And the crazy part is, the more you stay rooted during those moments, the more she starts to respect you, trust you, desire you not because you chased, but because you didn't. You stayed still. And that's what shook her. Asterisk, most guys stay. Stuck on the surface. They're all saying the same things, sending the same recycled compliments, hoping she'll respond with interest. You're so pretty. You have a nice smile. You're gorgeous. It's predictable. It's safe. And it's forgettable. She hears it all the time. That's not what makes her pause. That's not what makes her feel. What cuts through the noise is when a man doesn't just see her outer beauty, he reads her. He taps into something deeper, something that makes her stop and think, how did he notice that? Instead of chasing with admiration, connect with intention. Say things like, you give off this quiet energy, but I get the feeling your mind never really slows down. Or, you seem calm, but I bet you carry more than you let on. That kind of insight hits different, bypasses her looks and goes straight to her soul. That's when the conversation turns real. That's when she feels seen, not just wanted. And very few men can offer that. You want to create an emotional imprint? Start paying attention to the little things. How she reacts when she's uncomfortable. What she doesn't say. The way her energy shifts when certain topics come up. Mirror her in a way that makes her feel like you're in tune, not studying her to impress her, but naturally observing because you're present. And when you combine that depth with unpredictability, you become unforgettable. You're not always the same guy. One moment you're deep in a meaningful conversation, the next you're playful, witty, sharp. You bring different shades of masculinity that keep her emotionally engaged, because when she can't predict you, she stays curious. And curiosity isn't just interest, it's the start of obsession. Asterisk, being available all the time might feel like love, but in reality, it often comes off as neediness. It's a hard truth for a lot of guys to accept, constantly being there, applying within seconds, rearranging your life to fit hers. It doesn't make her feel special. It makes you look too easy, and we don't value what's easy. We value what we have to earn, what has structure, what doesn't revolve around us. So when you're always around, always texting first, always trying to keep her attention, you don't feel like a man with direction, you feel like a man with nothing. Better to do. That's not attraction, that's pressure. And pressure pushes people away. But when you're genuinely busy focused on your goals, moving with discipline, unavailable, not because you're playing games, but because you actually have a full schedule, she starts to notice. Your absence becomes presence. Your silence starts speaking. She starts wondering where you are, what you're doing, and more importantly, why you're not blowing up her phone like the rest. That curiosity, it's powerful. It's what keeps her thinking about you, even when you're not around. And don't confuse being nice with being real. Nice is safe, agreeable, bland. Real is honest, grounded, and unafraid to take up space. You're not bending to keep her happy. You're not nodding to things you disagree with just to avoid tension. You know what you value, and you live by it. That kind of presence makes her feel something different, something masculine and deeply secure. You don't need to talk a lot. You don't need to beg for attention. Your silence carries weight. Your time has value. And when she realizes she's dealing with a man who doesn't perform for approval, she won't forget him, because that kind of energy is rare.